There is the statement from Dolphins owner Stephen Ross regarding the outcome of yesterday's investigation and findings. Said Ross, the independent investigation cleared our organization on any issues related to tanking and all of Brian Flores' other allegations. As I have said all along, these allegations were false, malicious, and defamatory, and the issue is now put to rest. With regards to tampering, I strongly disagree with the conclusions and the punishment. However, I will accept the outcome because the most important thing is that there be no distractions for our team as we begin our exciting and winning season. I will not allow anything to get in the way of that. Okay, well, you already have, because now the world knows.
They're cleared, Mike. He's clear.
Well, first of all, plan A was Sean Payton and Tom Brady.
Right.
He's going with plan B,
Right.
Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. So he's already distracted from the vibe.
Yeah.
Because anybody who's at a game and sees McDaniel and Tua now knows, as much as anybody tried to dispute it, he wanted Payton and Brady.
Yeah.
But, Chris, I mean, this thing is so riddled with inaccuracy. He says we were cleared on any issues related to tanking and all of Brian Flores' other allegations. One of the things he alleged is that Ross tried to get him to go along with tampering with a prominent quarterback in 2019. And, of course, we know it was Brady. We knew it was Brady from the get-go. So this is...
But it's only talking about tanking here.
But he says, and all of Brian Flores' other allegations related to tanking and all of his other allegations. One of his allegations was he tried to get me to go along with tampering, and I refused to do it. So the whole thing, look, I know he says what he has to say.
Does the NFL help him with this statement, you think, at all?
No,
not at all?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I just thought maybe because of the delicate nature of the tanking that maybe they want them to make sure they send out the right word so they're on the same page about how they do that. Now making you think a little bit.
Maybe, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Because, look, this whole thing was, and I remember when we talked about the possibility of the NFL and Deshaun Watson working out a resolution to his situation. People were like, well, how would that happen? It happens all the time. There's no appeal rights here. When I asked the league yesterday, what are the Dolphins' appeal rights? The response was, these punishments are effective immediately, which glosses over they've decided not to appeal. They've agreed not to appeal. Maybe they were told, just be happy with what you're getting here.
Right.
I know you may be tempted to appeal this, Stephen,
Yeah.
and I know you're not happy, but let me tell you something. We're giving you a hell of a gift here.
Yeah.
Because you did try to tank. And but for Brian Flores, you would have tanked. And the tampering stuff, we've never seen anything like this before. You're saved by the fact that everybody does it. So either they told him, don't bother to appeal, or they negotiated this. And maybe it was going to be more of a punishment, and they negotiated it down to this in exchange for not having a process
of dragging
that becomes
it out.
the gift that keeps on giving for us that lasts for 2 or 3
and
weeks.
then maybe gets Congress involved to where they go, what the hell is
the
going on
longer it
here?
lasts, right? It's some big fight, and he goes to court at some point. I remember at one point, Robert Kraft was considering his legal options over Deflategate, and that died down, and he ultimately didn't appeal.
Yeah.
I think there is value. It's the old Paul Tagliabue line, all's well that ends. You don't want this to become a multi-week news cycle item, because the more you dig, the more that reporters have an incentive to dig, the closer you get to something that becomes a mess for everyone. So I think that's why, and so to answer your question, this probably all was orchestrated.
I would think so. So
to the extent that there's BS oozing from this statement, the NFL helped craft it.
I would think so. This is a delicate matter. This is beyond Stephen Ross. That's where I just feel like that's where they might have gotten involved to go, hey, let's make sure we get our ducks in a row here, because we do have a legal issue and we don't want you to say something that incriminates all of us here and incriminates the league. So I can see them getting involved.
That's why we see the wagon circling here. This notion that we were cleared on any issues related to tanking and all of Brian Flores' other allegations, because, see, Brian Flores is the bad guy because he has dared to bring legal claims against Big Shield. He is persona non grata. We can't give any credence or credibility to anything he says, except when we want to. But other than that, we're not going to give him any credence or any credibility because he's still trying to take what we got.
Right.
He's still trying to expose what Stephen Ross and arguably other teams did through this lawsuit. So I think that is part of it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.